Have you ever felt an emptiness that you can't explain? A moment when life seems to ask for more, not things, but meaning. For centuries, people have sought answers in religion, churches, temples, sacred books. But something is changing. Today, millions are finding connections through these paths. It's non-religious spirituality, a personal journey without dogmas or fixed rules. In this video, we'll explore why it's growing, what it means, and how it can change our view of the world. It's not about rejecting faith, but about finding it your way. Let's dive into this transformation. I'm not talking about waking up early to work or fulfill commitments, but something deeper. That feeling that arises when you look at the horizon, or when life forces you to ask questions that don't have simple answers. For centuries, humanity has sought these answers in religions, in churches filled with faith, in silent temples, in sacred scriptures. But something is changing. Today, millions of people are finding meaning outside these traditional paths. They don't reject the sacred, but seek it in a new, personal, free way. It's what we call non-religious spirituality, a movement that's growing like never before. And in this video, we'll delve into this. Why are you betting on it? What does it mean? And how can it change the way you see the world? Get ready for a long and reflective journey. Let's start slowly, because this story deserves to be told with time. Imagine an ordinary person, someone like you or me. They wake up, have a coffee, look out the window, and feel an emptiness they can't explain. Work is there, family is there, but something is missing. In the past, this person might have run to a church or followed their parents' footsteps in a religious tradition. But now, they pick up their phone, put on some calm music, close their eyes, and take a deep breath. Maybe they light a candle or go for a walk in nature. There's no priest, no guru, no sacred book, just them and that moment. That's non-religious spirituality in action. It's not about rejecting God or faith. It's about finding a path that doesn't need labels. And this search is spreading worldwide. Let's look at the numbers for a moment, because they show how big this is. In 2023, a Pew Research Center survey in the United States revealed that 27% of Americans describe themselves as spiritual but not religious. That's almost 1 in 3. And it's not just there. In the United Kingdom, in Australia, even in traditionally religious countries like Brazil, the signs are there. Younger generations like millennials and Generation Z lead this movement. Why? Maybe because they grew up with the world in the palm of their hand. Internet, social media, access to ideas from all corners. They've seen there's no single truth and have developed to create their own. But it's not just a generational issue. People of all ages are turning to this approach, and it tells us something about the time we live in. What do you think? Have you experienced something like this? Leave your comments and share with those who are also searching. Think about the world today. We're more connected than ever, but also more alone. Technology has given us everything, instant information, endless entertainment, but it's also brought anxiety, stress, a feeling that something is out of place. Traditional religions for many don't keep up with this pace. They offer answers, yes, but sometimes with rules that no longer make sense in such a diverse and complex world. Non-religious spirituality emerges as an alternative. It doesn't promise to save your soul or guarantee heaven, but it offers a space to breathe, to feel, to be. It's like a blank canvas where each person paints their own story. And what are we going to do here? We're going to explore this topic in detail. First, we'll understand what this spirituality is and how it differs from religion. Then we'll discover why it's growing so fast, the social, cultural, and even technological forces behind it. Next, we'll see how it manifests in everyday life, in the small choices people make. And finally, we'll face the challenges and criticisms, because no movement is perfect. My goal isn't to convince you of anything, but to make you think. Maybe you're already on this journey without even realizing it. Maybe today is the day you start looking at this in a new way. So grab something to drink, settle into your chair, and dive right in. Now that we're warming up, let's get to the basics. What exactly is this non-religious spirituality? If you ask 10 different people for a definition, you'll probably hear 10 different answers. And that's the beauty of it. It doesn't come with a manual, but to put it into words, we can say it's a search for connection, purpose, and meaning without relying on a formal religious structure. There are no mandatory temples, altars, or spiritual leaders. There's no fixed set of definitions you have to accept. Instead, it's something that arises within you, shaped by your experiences, your values, your curiosity. Think about religion for a moment. It usually has a clear narrative. A god or several gods, a creation, a defined purpose for humanity, rules to follow, rituals to practice. It's like a house already built. You enter, accept the walls, and live within them. Non-religious spirituality, on the other hand, is like an empty lot. You decide what to build, or if you want to build anything. For some, this means meditating every day, feeling the breath as a thread connecting them to the present. For others, it's walking on the beach and feeling the wind as a living force. There are those who find this connection in music, in poetry, or even in science, looking at the universe and marveling at its vastness. But let's make one thing clear. Being non-religious doesn't mean being atheist or rejecting the idea of something greater. Many people on this journey believe in a higher power, a cosmic mystery, an energy that connects everything. They just don't want to give it a name or fit it into a specific doctrine. For example, someone might feel that the universe has a purpose, but they don't believe a specific religion has a monopoly on that truth. Another might say that spirituality is in human waiting, in empathy, without needing a divine being. It's a broad spectrum, and each person finds their place in it. Why is this important? Because this flexibility is what attracts so many people. A 2022 Harvard University study showed that people who identify as spiritual but not religious tend to value autonomy. They want to explore, question, experiment. It's not uncommon to hear someone say, "I believe in something, but I don't like being told what to believe." This resistance to dogma is a defining trait. And at the same time, there's an openness to mix ideas from various sources. A bit of Buddhism here, a touch of Stoic philosophy there, a dash of modern science. It's like a spiritual buffet. You take what works for you. Let's go with a practical example. Imagine a woman named Anna. She grew up in a Catholic family, but over time she felt that the masses no longer spoke to her. One day, during a trip, she climbed a mountain and upon reaching the top, felt a peace she had never experienced in church. There were no prayers, no saints, just the sound of the wind and the infinite view. Since then, she started seeking those moments, sometimes meditating, sometimes just watching the sky. Anna doesn't call herself an atheist, but she also doesn't follow a religion. She's part of this movement, even without knowing it. And the numbers confirm that Anna isn't alone. In Brazil, for example, the IBGE has been noting for years an increase in people declaring themselves without religion. But that doesn't mean they've abandoned spirituality. Many are redefining what it means. In 2024, a Datafolha survey showed that practices like meditation and yoga grew by 40% in 5 years, especially among urban youth. This isn't a coincidence. It's a sign that people are seeking something that traditional religions don't always offer: freedom to feel the sacred in their own way. So, non-religious spirituality is this: an open space, an invitation to explore what's greater than us without ties. But why is this space being occupied by so many people now? That's what we'll discover in the next part. Stay with me. So, what is this? Non-religious spirituality is a search for connection and meaning intentionally without a formal religious structure. There are no mandatory temples or leaders, just you and your journey. Unlike religion, which has ready-made rules and narratives, here the path is free. It can be meditating, walking in nature, or listening to music that deeply touches you. It doesn't mean denying God. Many believe in something greater, but without naming it or following a dogma. This flexibility is what attracts. A Harvard study showed that those who follow this path value autonomy. They mix ideas, a bit of science, a touch of philosophy, a dose of silence. Think of someone who grew up in the church but now finds peace looking at the stars. They're not atheists, just don't need a label. In Brazil, the IBGE notes more without religion, but many still seek the sacred, just in their own way. It's an open space to explore what connects us to the world. Why now? First, freedom. With the internet, we have access to global ideas and no longer accept single truths. Second, science. Many see spirituality in nature or the cosmos without needing miracles. Third, modern emptiness. Stress and anxiety push us towards practices like mindfulness, which have exploded. In 2024, the market will start moving billions. Younger generations lead this. They grew up questioning, wanting answers that make sense for their lives. But it's not just about age. People from all corners feel this change. Religion can seem like an illusion in a fluid world, while spirituality adapts. It's like a breath in chaotic times, a way to connect without being tied down. In practice, it's simple. Someone meditates in the morning, another watches the sunset and feels something greater. There are those who find this in art or helping someone. It doesn't need complex rituals. It's personal. Wellness retreats, yoga, and online communities show this growing. In Brazil, reflection rose by 40% in 5 years, according to Datafolha. Think of someone lighting a candle and reflecting, or a group discussing purpose without leaders. It's living spirituality, shaped by those who practice it. Even science comes in. Studies show these practices reduce anxiety. It's about feeling part of something, but without ties, a movement that fits into anyone's routine. Not everything is perfect. Some say it's superficial, a trend without depth. Critics think that without structure, it turns into selfishness or confusion. And yes, there are those who use it just for social media photos, but supporters say that freedom is the strong point. There's no right or wrong, just what resonates with you. The challenge is balancing the I and the we. Without a fixed community, support might be lacking. Still, this movement proves that the sacred doesn't need ready-made molds. It's imperfect but human, and perhaps that's why it's growing so much. We've reached the end. The growth of non-religious spirituality shows what we want to mean, but it also hurts. It's a dance between the personal and the universal, in a world asking for new answers. Maybe you already feel this, a connection without a name, a moment you make stop. This path has no map, and that's what makes it unique. We've reached the end of this video, which in reality is but a deep questioning of everything we've been told since we were born and started thinking. We know there's a greater force, but in my opinion, it created everything here but remained neutral. And we must return to within our being and each discover our truth. Until the next video, I count on your like and your subscription to the channel, but of course, if the topic interested you, because here we are on the path of awakening. Gratitude to all.